Commentary Booth is a show for media lovers by media lovers just like you. If you want to support the show, go to pariomagazine.com.au. Welcome to the Commentary Booth, where we watch and, you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in movies and TV. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator Jamie Apps, and each week I'm joined by a rotating cast of colour commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week I'm joined by a freelance social commentator who lists their favourite movie as American Psycho and favourite TV show as Peaky Blinders. Welcome back to the show, Blake Byron Bay Robinson.
Wow, what an intro. I am grateful. Hello.
How was the little trip away?
Oh, it's the homeland, we'll just say that much. And I just love going back to the place. The hype is real. I'm that guy.
I don't see what you find so appealing about Byron Bay.
I think it's the fact that it's not Wollongong.
Okay, that's probably fair.
I'm a simple man, and just get me out of town, and I don't care where it is. I'll take it.
Yeah, I saw you went to Movie World.
I went to Movie World, and I'll tell you one thing: that place hasn't changed in 20 years. I don't know when you or anyone listening the last time they went there, but I'm telling you, it hasn't changed. It's gotten smaller. You know, like when you went to, I don't know, like if you went back to your primary school now and just walked around, you're like, wow, this place is for dwarfs. Like a centre for ants. It just seems so small. That was Movie World. I was like, this place is a lot smaller than I remember, but it hasn't changed. But it was fun. Yeah. The vibes were high.
Yeah, I feel like Movie World has just stayed the same, and they've just put
they've just
new branding or a fresh coat of paint on the rides.
They just sort of updated and just tried to keep with the times as far as the rides go, but the layout, everything's the same. But
whereas Dream World and everything have just got bigger and bigger.
I'm not like a theme park ride guy. I just went to Movie World for the nostalgia purposes, and it delivered. I got me hit.
Fair. So what else has been happening outside of that? Just not much.
Lots of running.
Same old.
Lots of golf. Repeat.
Okay. Yeah, you're on the golf train with Buddy as well.
Yep, that's all I do. So that's good. It feels in the spare time.
Nice. So then on to our regular programming. This week we've been watching a lot of Disney Plus.
How good is it?
As we review The Bear and the live-action remake of Pinocchio starring Tom Hanks.
Yep, correct. Both of those things.
How do you what's your experience with Disney Plus? Do you watch a lot of it?
No. Well, if I want to watch something and I have no idea what I want, it's Netflix first, Netflix second, and probably Netflix third as my go-to. And that may be assisted by, it's got a button on my TV remote, so I can just go straight to Netflix. But it's familiar. I don't know, the layout is just user-friendly, and I just feel at home on Netflix. But as far as Disney,
their algorithm does a good job of feeding you stuff you like as well.
It's just easy to look at. It's like, as far as for the gamblers out there, the Tab app is very stale. Like Ladbrokes and Neds are pretty much the same. But then you got Sportsbet. It's just so easy to use. There's colors, easy to navigate. Netflix is the Sportsbet of streaming services. But as far as Disney Plus goes, I use it when I want to watch something in particular. So I don't just go wandering around there. But
yeah, you're not browsing around Disney Plus. You're going specifically for something.
But that can change because there is things to watch, and there is a lot on there.
Especially that Star thing, the Star section. They have so many things on there now that are drawing me in. Whereas, I think apart from the Star things, I go there for my Marvel, my Star Wars, and then randomly stuff like Pinocchio. But I'm not going there and just scrolling through the main section of Disney Plus.
Tommy got a start on Disney Plus. The new Kardashians show is on Disney Plus as well. So they're branching out. Don't be scared off by the Disney name. It's got heat.
They've got Welcome to Wrexham. The Mike Tyson show is on there now as well.
There's heat.
There's plenty of stuff on there.
No, we like Disney Plus.
They're becoming my favorite, I think.
We've always talked up Apple TV. This is Disney's taken over. I reckon Disney's up on that Apple realm, if not jumping above.
I think Apple probably have them on quality. When they put out a show, it's generally really high
obvious
quality, but
severances, etc., etc.
yeah, they don't have like the breadth of content as well. Like they might have one or two shows each week that are worth going to.
But they have
Whereas
fire.
Disney Plus, I feel like
Disney Plus
they almost have something every day.
And Disney Plus is cheap too, isn't it? I think it's definitely cheaper.
I think it's like
$6
$7 a month or something.
So it's value for money if you're one of those. Yeah. Anyway, unpaid promotions.
Yeah. So like we said, we're chatting about the bear and Pinocchio. Which one did you want to start off with?
I'm very excited to talk about the bear, Jamie Apps.
All right, let's go with the bear first because that's my
quite incredible. I I had a few recommendations come my way, and I was like, yeah, I'm planning on watching. I'll get there, and kicking myself. I didn't pick it up straight away. It is incredible.
Oh yeah. If you haven't watched The Bear yet, you're missing out on one of the best shows.
It's the show
of the year, I think.
It's the show of the year. I'm declaring it.
So yeah, it's an American comedy drama series created by Christopher Storer. Premiered on Hulu in the US a few months ago, but it's finally come to Disney Plus in Australia on August 31st. You get 8 roughly 30 to 40 minute episodes, and it's all about this young chef who left his hometown of Chicago to move into the world of fine dining as a chef. And then following the sudden passing of his brother, has to come back and take over the helm of the Italian beef sandwich shop.
So his brother pretty much left the restaurant in his will unknowingly. So he's been left with this sort of, you could call it a burden. It's just like it's just like what do you call it? Like a staple, a cult icon sort of sandwich shop, essentially. Like downtown
it's basically
Chicago.
Just like a hole in the wall Italian beef sandwich shop, and they're struggling in all forms of just like keeping the budget going, getting staff paid, paying for their produce, but somehow this young kid, Carmen, comes back from his world in fine dining and tries to get the ship righted and
essentially runs his takeaway shop like professionally, like a Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, he comes in and tries to no, we're going to actually treat this like a proper restaurant, not just a whole bunch of people hanging out and goofing around.
I think this would be it just seems like a realistic deep dive into like an insight into what like the chef's world is really like.
Yeah, a life in the kitchen. It feels super stressful, and it does a great job of getting that stress across.
I reckon, I haven't read any reviews or anything by actual chefs, but I can't see anyone being disappointed in the accuracy in this.
Yeah, I saw a few posts from actual chefs saying it's crazy accurate in terms of how they portray life in a kitchen. What else? I did read that in 2015 there was a study by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration in the US that found the food and service industry had the highest rates of substance abuse and third highest rate of alcohol use.
Well, there's a lot of that in this.
It is a very intense profession from the sounds of things.
They sort of they do a good job in the brother who dies. They don't give much away. They pretty much don't explain it at all until almost the last episode, really, isn't it? They sort of keep you guessing, well, what happened to this guy? What's the story here? Did I miss something in the first episode? That's what I kept thinking. But they slowly, feed it to you and, subtly give away parts of it. And, he eventually ends up, he ended up killing himself, didn't he? Because he was addicted to painkillers, I think.
Yeah, they allude to the fact that he committed suicide without, saying it straight up in your face early, but they kind of give you subtle hints to it, and then it's not until the very end where John Bernthal makes a little cameo as Mikey, the brother that killed himself.
Yep. Really like the 30-minute episodes in this. I know a lot of other shows, they can be hit and miss. If you're getting 25, 27-minute episodes, you're as soon as it gets going, it's hard to pick up dialogue and plot in that short period of time. I know a show we've spoken about many times on here is Servant.
Has that issue.
Had that issue, yeah. They should have been hour episodes because like the 25-minute, 30-minute episodes is like you just can't really get a grasp of what's going on and can't really get into it. But this, The Bear, I think perfect. I didn't resent it at all, and the 30-minute episodes were amazing. I punched this out in like a day, like one night.
Yeah,
we
I watched
couldn't
it
put
in
it down.
2 sittings.
I think like the second last episode was the shortest. It went for like 23 minutes. It was called The Review. Then the last episode was like a 48-minute episode. And I'm going to say, what a final episode, hey.
Oh,
it was a work of art.
That final episode was great.
I was like, oh my God.
So
yeah, I think it just bookended the whole thing, the whole open. It was like one of the great opening, like introductory seasons to a TV show I've seen. It was almost like an 8-episode pilot. Like, it's like, all right, here's season 1. We're going to bang this out. This is what this is all about. Then it's already locked in for season 2, obviously. Yeah. So like it's like an 8-episode pilot. Then I'm keen to see where they go with this. Are they going to do like really start to get into it and do like hour episodes and a few more seasons? But I did.
That was my thought.
But for the fast-paced,
this might have been
30-minute episode,
a limited budget. Let's do half-hour.
Yeah, I couldn't really
episodes.
get a grasp for it, like where they're going with it.
Now they've been re-signed for a second season, they might expand those out to hour episodes. But I hope they don't. I hope they stick to the 30 minutes. It's punchy. There's no wasted time.
It suited what the show is about, like fast-paced, high energy, like in the kitchen stuff, and like the 30-minute episodes are perfect. The soundtrack was absolutely incredible. Oh my God, it is incredible. Yeah, so whoever worked on that knows what they're doing.
What did you think of episode 4? I thought that was like the funniest one, where they cater the kid's birthday party.
When they left, they spilled all the Xanax in the cooler.
Yeah, and they
that was funny.
Accidentally drugged the kids.
Yeah,
I still can't work out whether that was an accident or if he was just like.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I
intentionally doing that.
I didn't initially see this bottled Xanax floating around. Next minute, it's empty in the punch essentially, and all the kids are passed out on the lawn. Yeah, that was funny.
I love the way they notice. It's like, oh, it's quiet, and then they all look like, is it nap time? Like, what's going on? And then they work it out, and they're like, oh no, what have we done?
But they're all out, aren't they? Like as far as like it's in their blood. The cook, like the chefs, like this, they fully catered like this kid's birthday party and like went all out on their beef sandwiches, and they did the same with that bachelor party at the restaurant, which went terribly, terribly wrong.
Oh yeah. What did you think of like the performances as well with the cast? Jeremy Allen White.
I'm not familiar with him. Is this?
You're not. So
I don't know.
You didn't watch Shameless?
No, I didn't watch Shameless. Is he in Shameless? Is he? There you go.
Yes, he is best known as Philip or Lip Gallagher from Shameless, and this is kind of like his next big shot at
what a noob.
a lead role.
Yeah, right.
And it's so good. I thought he
was incredible.
Was phenomenal in
I
this.
think everyone was great. The young lady who played Sydney, the sous chef who came on board and sort of essentially took over the restaurant, she was pretty great as well.
Yeah, Ayo Edebiri.
I think it should be mentioned. We haven't mentioned yet. Maddie Matheson, for you, I guess, celebrity chef people out there, for lack of a better term, of your Action Bronson level fames. It's always like a Ford versus Holden thing for me, I feel, with Maddie Matheson and Action Bronson. They're like the same people, but it's like whatever taste you are. Like, are you Android or you iPhone? But I've always been Action Bronson, so I've never really gotten into the Maddie Matheson side of things, but he was great in this. I think he started in 6 episodes. He's like the maintenance guy for the restaurant. I got up that vibe.
And yeah, he's a professional chef.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that until afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't? No. So and he's a bit of a foodie himself in this show, and he just wants to he works at this restaurant with these delicious beef sandwiches, and he just asks all the time if he can get a job there. He wants to work there. He's always like moping around, fixing the arcade machines, fixing the toilet, whatever it needs servicing. Or
half the time he's just like, can I just get paid in sandwiches? Like, that's fun.
I thought his role was great. So I'm interested to see if there's more like celebrity cameos or stuff along those lines in future seasons. So it's good.
speaking of Action Bronson,
He was in
you might want to watch.
AEW,
You might want to watch AEW next week. He's about to wrestle next week.
Wasn't he on last week or something? I did see a clip. Or was he?
Yeah, he punched someone last week, but next week he has a full match
how good's that?
in Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's
good
going
on
to be
him.
pretty cool. In terms of like Jeremy Allen White playing Kami, I thought he did a phenomenal job. I feel like
he's a lot of praise.
Should be nominated for an Emmy next year for sure.
So this will be next year's run. We just had the Emmys this week.
Yep. And I think he deserves that Emmy because he put in a lot of hard work before even starting this show. He went to cooking school for 2 weeks and then worked in multiple kitchens to sort of get a feel for what it's like to work in a Michelin star rated restaurant.
From actors getting really immersed into the role.
Yeah, like I guess it's kind of like Tom Holland. He worked in a bar as a bartender for a couple of weeks before he filmed Spider-Man.
Yeah, cool.
Just
we
to
love Tom Holland.
Get a feel for it. Like that's pretty cool.
The other thing I noticed actually, they the mention of post-COVID and making it through COVID. This is a thing we're starting to see a lot of now. So they made it like no secret when like this was set. So the restaurant that I mentioned making it through COVID. And another thing, like the use of iPhone 13s is prominent, and it's almost like they want us to see that they're using iPhone 13s, like the latest iPhone at the time.
No, it's probably like partly a paid promotion as well.
But they're like, hey, here's his current iPhone, so this is these times, and we're going to mention post-COVID. But it's a thing.
Like there's times during this show where it doesn't feel like a scripted show. Like it kind of just feels like
it probably is, man.
An actual restaurant where they've just chucked cameras.
When they're just freestyling a bit and
nuts.
just going with it, like because it's so fast paced and there's a lot of characters, but it's almost like a sitcom vibe too. Like most of the show, a lot of the show is set in this restaurant in the kitchen, and the 30-minute episodes do give off sitcom vibes, and it's the same sort of core group of characters in every episode. So you're not seeing too many other people. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did like freestyle and off the cuff, like acting, whatever you call it. There's got to be a term for it. Freelance acting. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that was going on here.
Yeah, I was like, and for the name of the show too, like the bear.
Yeah,
I was kind of like, where is this coming from?
Well,
like,
the opening scene, he's with that bear in the cage, and it's sort of like his subconscious, like he has these night terrors and with his bears in his nightmares or his dreams, and he's like battling this almost inner demon, which is this bear. But then they sort of drip feed and end up revealing at the end that he has dreams to open this sort of restaurant called the Bear.
Yep. And then I loved how they sort of set up that they were going to move the restaurant to that bar as well. Like we find out throughout the season, like, oh, the bar down the road is struggling, and then the bar down the road is sold and it's empty, and we slowly build up to the final episode. But they're like, okay, we're buying the bar and we're going to set up our restaurant.
Well, that's another thing. What
call it?
They reveal at the end that he is going to close his sandwich shop and finally open the Bear, his dream sort of restaurant he's had planned out, because he stumbles across some cash, let's say. And that's sort of what seals the deal of like making it an introductory sort of season. He's like, oh, this is all like a prequel, and now season 2 we're going to start the Bear.
Yep. Did you notice like up until the very last episode there was no like title sequence on the episodes, and then that last episode there is like a bar, the Bear title sequence on that episode, and it's kind of like a suggestion that all of these previous episodes were, like you said, a pilot, and now from episode 8 onwards we're moving into the actual show.
Yeah, I didn't really take much notice, but I think, I did notice that the second last episode, when I was just looking through the times of the episodes, because that was the shorter one, it was called The Review. No, I don't know what the last episode was called, but then that was like the longest one. So what are you saying? Like the sort of the last episode of the first season is essentially the first episode of the second season.
Is the first episode of the show rather than
I think you've nailed that.
The prequel.
Because that's what it felt like. Because that final episode was incredible.
Yeah.
It was a ride. There was a lot going on. It was wholesome. A lot of changing of like emotions in the tide. What are you doing?
Yeah, like it's such an emotional show, and like going into it, you wouldn't expect that.
There's heaps going on.
Like, this is a show about a restaurant and a guy like trying to get his restaurant up and running and financially sound. Yeah. But no, it's like there's a ton of emotions and just an incredible show that if people haven't watched, they absolutely need to go.
It's a work of art.
Get into it.
It's worth it for the final episode alone. But it's 30-minute episodes. What are you doing? Stop scratching your ass and watching YouTube like I do all the time, and just watch the show. Do something with your lives.
Especially with all the rain we've been having. Like, just sit down and watch this show and don't go outside. Stay dry.
Just stop making excuses.
And then for me, on the other end of the scale, on Disney Plus, we got Pinocchio, the 2022 live-action remake by Robert Zemeckis, starring, who did I say? Tom Hanks as Geppetto, remaking the 1940 animated film.
Heavy hitters in this. We got Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a very strange casting as Jiminy Cricket.
Yep. I didn't even realize it was him until afterwards.
I knew, like, I found out like years ago whenever they announced it, when he was going to be doing it. But then about half an hour into it, I Googled it and I was like, oh yeah, it is him. But no, it definitely shouldn't have been him. I don't know. It was weird. Like maybe because he looks like Jiminy Cricket in real life. He gives off Jiminy Cricket vibes, but he definitely didn't sound like him. And he was putting on a voice the whole time. But as far as Pinocchio goes, I do need to confess I've never seen the original.
I haven't seen. I've probably seen it like once or twice.
Seen Pinocchio like Disney on Ice as a kid. I know about Pinocchio, but I couldn't. If you asked me what the story of Pinocchio was, I probably wouldn't have been able to tell you. But from what I gathered, it's sort of, it reminded me of Like Mike with Bow Wow, how he finds Michael Jordan's shoes hanging up on the power lines and like lightning strikes them, and they put like Michael Jordan's talent and superpowers into the sneakers, and that's essentially what happens here. Like, what's his name? Geppetto.
Yep.
Tom Hanks makes this wooden toy, Pinocchio, which, thanks to Wikipedia, I found out is his son who passed away. So he remakes his son into this toy, and it's sitting on the bench. And the fairy, and does he pray or dream?
Yeah,
or
he wishes on like a shooting star
to this fairy to bring his boy back. So in the night, the fairy waves the wand and reflects the superpowers, so to speak, off the photo of his kid onto Pinocchio. Then boom, boom, he comes to life, a real boy.
Yep.
And this isn't even a Walt Disney story either. This was Walt Disney made his Pinocchio film off like a 1880s story, like a book of Pinocchio. Yep. So the Walt Disney original, which was like, when did Disney put this out? It was like the 40s,
1940,
50s, 40s, yeah. Which is a long time ago. So even that was a remake on the original. But this live action with Tom Hanks of 2022 fame, they've definitely changed up a lot of things too in the story. So it's essentially not a remake. It's like it's a reimagining. Reimagining, yes. Yeah. Anyway, that was a bit of a dribble for you.
Like I was saying, like I haven't watched this movie, like the original, from start to finish in decades.
I actually thought about going back to back to get like compare the pair.
Yeah, rough. But like watching this one, everything felt familiar, even though like I couldn't tell you
I strangely knew about everything going on.
I was like, I kind of know all of this story.
Then when the whale scene, I'm like, oh yeah, I know about this whale, but I don't really know. But another thing, can you even call that a whale in this one?
I think it was like a sea monster because it was like a whale squid cross.
Crazy looking thing. I thought it was good. Like, it was wholesome. I'm not going to steer people away from watching it. It's very easy watching. There were like you can definitely pick things apart from it. Like for starters, the accents. Like the Tom Hanks,
they're all over the
sure
place.
Tom Hanks started with an American accent, then he sort of put on like a make-believe Italian one, which he just got like given shit for his poor Dutch accent as Colonel Tom Parker in Elvis. Like they gave him shit for that. Then now he's doing this half-assed Italian accent, which most of the time is just American. Then that's what made me Google. I was like, where is it? Is this meant to be French or Italian? Or like, is this meant to be in the UK? And no, it's like an Italian town, because then those like mercenaries come along, that kid, and Luke Evans, who makes a little
he's
cameo.
got like this weird Cockney English accent.
Yeah, then these guys are like English, and there's like Americans in it. I was like, what is going on here? Like, where is
the
this?
accents were all
that
over
threw
the
me
shop.
off big time. I had to keep Googling.
The seagull sounds like they're from Jersey. I was like, what is going on?
I was like, God, there's a bit going on here.
But like I enjoyed it, but it didn't.
Hey, it's funny. Sorry.
I feel like it didn't have the soul of the original.
I need to butt in here about that seagull from Jersey. I was curious to know who the seagull was. Sophie the seagull. It's Lorraine Bracco. She plays Jennifer, which is Tony Soprano's psychiatrist in The Sopranos, who he has the affair with.
Oh,
good.
That's why it sounds like from Jersey.
I was like, who is this? I know this voice. Yeah, it's Jennifer, Tony's psychiatrist.
Okay, that makes sense.
There's your Jersey.
What else did I find wrong with this one? Oh, all the sizing seemed way off on me. Like some of the animals were massive, others were tiny. There's no consistency in this movie.
Something I like. There were Disney Easter eggs.
Tons. So many Easter eggs on the wall.
Yeah, who'd you see? I've seen Snow White, Toy Story, Lion King, Cinderella, Dumbo. I'm sure there was more that I missed.
Donald Duck was in there as well. Maleficent.
Oh, yes, that's what that was. I couldn't think.
And Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which was a reference to the director Robert Zemeckis, because he did.
Who's that?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who's that? The character, the redheaded lady out of that.
Oh God, I can't think of it off the top of my head. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've seen in the closet. Yeah, I couldn't think of it either.
Yeah. I thought that was probably one of the coolest things. It made me want to stop and go back and pause to look at them all, because they were all really well done.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it wasn't cheesy either. It was like sort of, it looked dated, like it was meant to be part of that era. So they fit that in well.
And what did you think of like the CGI as well?
I thought it fit in nicely. Like it all worked.
I thought when Pinocchio was just like acting by himself, it was fine.
Yeah.
When he was like picked up or had to interact with the people, I was like, oh, this doesn't look so great.
Yeah, I think probably the hardest one for him to do was when they were out in the sea. Like, so Tom Hanks, of like a human being, like real life, was on a boat with these CGI characters, and essentially they weren't really on the water. Like, that was a lot of different dimensions there that just sort of put together, which they ended up working out right, but gave off big cast.
And just like there's moments where
he's out there, he's out there on the boat on his own.
There's a bunch of moments where like Geppetto is talking to Pinocchio, or one of the other human characters is talking to Pinocchio, and the eye lines are all off. Like they're just not looking at each other in the eye, because
I actually
really
paid
fake.
close attention to this when the fairy was talking to Pinocchio or Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy. Yeah, I was actually paying very close attention to the eye contact there. But
yeah, it's like there's a face here and they're looking like up here somewhere, and you're like, oh no, that just doesn't quite look right, and it's a bit pulls you out of the moment.
I really like the fox, that character. That was a fun one. So this there was a few
Honest John or something.
There's a few moments in this where I thought it was going to break out in full musical, but it sort of didn't. But at the same time, there was a few like dancing.
There's a bunch of like musical
scenes.
dancing
it was
numbers.
Fun, though. I didn't hate it.
That was another thing. I feel like they crammed a lot into this movie as well.
I noticed it was under.
It flies by, and
I noticed it was under 2
some
hours.
characters pop in and then disappear.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, now you mention it. But what was it?
I feel like they'd have been better served
Fantasyland?
to make it.
Was that what that? Sort of reminded me a
Yeah,
lot of
something like
Polar
that.
Express.
I feel like they'd have been better off served make like instead of doing a reimagining of the movie as another movie, let's break it up and do a series. Do a Pinocchio series.
Biopic.
I feel like that would have been a bit.
Yeah, hey, how about that? Just a Pinocchio biopic. Like not the story of Pinocchio and where he come from and like the life surrounding him and the characters. Dude, Pinocchio like going off to school, making friends, like finding his way in the world. That'd be the go.
Yeah.
So this is like
And,
Pinocchio,
like,
the story that
you can have these episodes that break off into he's dealing with Honest John and then he's going off to this island. Like, you could explore them a bit more, but
100%.
yeah, in this movie it was kind of like let's just keep moving.
Let's just retell the story.
We have this
and
one segment and
reinvent the wheel. But no, they should have done like a Pinocchio spin-off, like they did with Buzz Lightyear. Same thing.
it felt very much like did you watch the remake of The Lion King?
Nah.
Okay, well for me it felt like that where it was like very very similar to the original, so I kind of couldn't see the reasoning behind why we needed to do it other than let's refresh this to get a whole new generation of kids.
Yeah, the fact that they had cast someone big like Tom Hanks as the lead, I think that's what kept people interested. If they didn't have someone as massive as Tom Hanks and like intriguing, because there's people like Tom Hanks, no matter what role they play, people are intrigued to see how he goes and to see how he does it. I think he's one of the few like minority of big time actors that people will always watch the films to see how he transforms himself into that role. And I think that's what really going to make people watch this, is the fact that a Tom Hanks is playing such a big role in this.
Yeah, like I
anyone
think
else,
people have that nostalgia for Pinocchio, but then when you attach Tom Hanks, everyone's like, okay, this is going to be something that I need to check out. But
this wouldn't have been as
not sure how necessary it was.
This wouldn't have been as relevant if like someone like Tom Hanks was playing the lead. But back on Luke Evans, isn't he just great? Shock horror, he played a great role in this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I think
creepy, super creepy role.
Great. I reckon he was great acting. And back on like when I said like the musical aspect of this, he did a bit of a song and dance, and he nailed it. In that, like as like what was he? He was like a carny, almost a carny, like an olden day carny in that fantasy land.
Yeah, where he's just like kidnapping kids and turning them into donkeys.
But yeah, great. He was great. He's great in everything he does. We love a bit of Luke Evans.
And like, it's the Pinocchio story. What did you think of like the very limited use of like his extending nose when he lies?
Hey, yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. I was expecting heaps more of that.
It's like literally one scene.
They did it once, yeah.
Like, okay.
I don't know. I picked that up as well. Does he even say I'm a real boy in this? I don't think he does, eh?
No, I think he says like I want to be a real boy, but he never says I am a real boy.
That's interesting you mentioned that.
And they leave the ending pretty ambiguous on did he turn into a real boy or not.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it was under 2 hours. I noticed that when I pressed play, I was like an hour and something minutes. I was like, what's going on here? This is a bit short. And yeah, now that you mentioned it, it was very rushed and mashed together. But that didn't make me hate it. Like, it was entertaining. It wasn't boring. It was fast paced, so to speak, for like the kind of movie it was.
Yeah, I just think if I was to recommend either of the Pinocchios, I would push people more towards go back and watch the 1940s one.
Yeah.
Just because you get that beautiful animation style rather than this like modern computer generated soulless animation.
But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't have been as interested to watch this if like Tom Hanks wasn't playing. You know?
Oh yeah, if it was just a bunch of random people that I had no idea who they were, I would not have watched this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just I find it really crazy now that we're going to have a generation of kids that have grown up and they watch Jungle Book, Lion King, Pinocchio, Sleeping Beauty, Little Mermaid, and they're not going to be the ones that we think of as kids.
Right, there's kids out there.
They're going to be a whole new one.
Kids out there that don't know bananas in pajamas was like a stage production, and Teletubbies, which they're bringing Teletubbies back. I don't know if you've seen the news this week.
Oh yeah, Netflix.
Heck yeah. What's another one though that kids have just got no idea about that exists?
I think the new Little Mermaid one is going to be a big divisive one. Have you seen the trailer for it?
I can't say I'm too into that.
Okay, so they just put out the new trailer. Little Mermaid Ariel is being played by a black actress, and holy dooly did people lose their minds. There were people like, that's not Ariel. Ariel's meant to be a white girl. And it's like, dude,
well, how
it's
about
half girl, half fish.
Why do mermaids have to be girls? Who wrote that book? Why can't we have like a male mermaid? Let's just switch that one up.
Yeah, merman.
True. Yeah, hey, there's one for you.
So yeah, like there's been people losing their minds, but then there's also been like the TikTok trends of black parents showing their little young girls, look, here's the new Little Mermaid, and the girl's been like, she looks like me. Holy cow.
That's cool. We like that.
So I'm excited for that one. I think that one's going to be decent, but we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's the two big things on Disney
Plus. Have you hit us
Plus.
to Disney this week?
What would be your top
I
recommendation?
think it's unanimous, Jamie. This could be recommendation of the year. Like, I'm going to go out on a limb.
100%. Watch The Bear. Don't sleep on it any longer. Don't hibernate on The Bear.
I haven't heard when season 2 is coming. I just heard it is going to come. I hope it's not too long, man. I hope we don't have to wait 3 years for like the next Euphoria season with The Bear. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I hope they really dive in and get this out by this time next year. I think they could if they stick to like the 30-40 minute episodes.
Yeah, it was sick.
Shouldn't be too hard.
It was sick.
Alrighty. Thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services and on YouTube. You can follow Blake on Twitter at Captain Crumbs with a Z, and you can follow me on social media at JamieUps Media and at Pario Magazine.
Ciao.
The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. The following people supported at the community support group level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support. Brian and June Hart, Blake Robinson, Rena Renee, Courtney Paulson, Darren Hatcliffe, Jackson Carr, and Tracy Apps.